So we did talk about the numbers, the jobs, the work that the government is doing, the work that organizations like THI and of course our wonderful partners like Regeneration, Odyssey, and SEV are doing. But I think the topic of the next discussion is more about not just the number of jobs, but the quality of jobs. So the next panel discussion is all about what jobs are available in Greece today. And I'm very honored and very glad to have with us two top HR professionals, Vangelis Sinanidis, the managing partner of C Partners. Please join me in welcoming Vangelis on stage. And of course, Adigoni Hioni, who is the CEO of People for Business. Adigoni and Vangelis, thank you for being with us today. It's Xionia, it's my mistake, sorry. I wasn't wearing my glasses, that's why, you see? Okay. So I want to start, very quickly by having you say, basically, in just 1 minute, who you are, what you do.
I'm a headhunter, 20 years headhunter. I won't charge you, don't be afraid. So I headhunt for 20 years. I started with a multinational company, one of the biggest in Greece. And the last 13 years, I'm an independent consultant. Started with financial services, mainly banking, and then moved to telecoms, gaming, and several other sectors also. Mainly directors, senior directors, and C-level positions. This is my place.
Thank you. Adigoni?
First of all, I'm very happy to be here because I'm a graduate from Diri College.
There you go.
So I see also Mr. Koumet is there. Here. Here now. That was my professor in marketing management in my early stages of my career, so I'm very happy to be here. Now I'm in the market more than 25, close to 30 years, doing different jobs, always in business. I did jobs in sales and marketing. I did jobs in, I became a Black Belt Six Sigma trainer. Then I moved to some international roles, both for multinational companies and Greek companies. And in the last 3.5 years, I'm in the People for Business. Is an HR company. One of the things it's doing is headhunting, among other things, because headhunting solves one part of, I would say, the organization is finding the right people. Then we need to keep them, we need to develop them, and we need to make sure that we help companies to succeed in their business plans. So this is for me.
Thank you both. Vangelis, I want to start from you. You obviously, having a couple of decades of experience, overseeing the Greek labor market, you see the dynamics, you see how things are changing and being shaped. I want to ask you, where do you see the sharpest, let's say, increase in the hiring demand? Where do you see there are some trends that are either explainable, not explainable, some trends that are either, very specific to the Greek market or just, trends that are coming from abroad? I mean, if you had to go out nowadays and look for a job or basically, somehow, formulate your studies according to a career path, what would you say is a smart move to do right now in Greece?
To my experience, if you are in your 20s right now, it's a party out there for you. If you want to have a corporate career, you will have companies, the best names of the market, searching for you like crazy. As far as the other part for the trends, for the positions which I run, I would say the usual stuff. Never changes. It only changes in highly specialized areas or in blue collars. When it comes to CFO positions, to financial controlling positions, to HR positions, reward positions, it's always the same more or less. We had the trend last year for chief people officers and heads of HR. We had the trend this year for family offices and extremely well-paid asset managers, M&As. But the main trend, the main issue here right now in Greece is that companies doesn't hire executives, doesn't hire experience. It's as old as the Acropolis. They hire character. We have a major emotional issue in the country. We don't have too many openings. This is the truth. We're a shallow market. We don't have too many candidates too, because the candidates are a bit depressed right now. We need clear-minded candidates. And when we find them, we need to pay more for them, which we can afford due to the structure of the companies for the last 15 years. We had here Microsoft and Coca-Cola. They're my idols. They have more restructurings than Christmas. It's impressive to see how many restructuring they do. They never missed a train in salary gaps. They're ahead of the market. In the Greek companies, we have a major issue following the market. We left behind, we are back to 2008 probably, in terms of salaries. And if you add to the equation the part of the emotional distress and the lack of clear mind right now, this is the major trend. Clear mind and emotionally stable people.
Yeah, which is a pattern that, you know, has been flowing over the event from different speakers, and you're absolutely right. Adigoni, I want to come over to you and maybe address the same issue more or less, but maybe from the darker side of the moon, and ask you, you know, there's this notion in Greece that sometimes in the big corporates or even the smaller companies, there is no succession planning. First of all, is this true? And then if that's the case, how does this affect, you know, the lack of specific jobs, or how does this affect specific sectors in the job market, the overall lack of succession planning in Greece?
Okay. First of all, let's start with the fact that in the market there are jobs. Okay. So the problem usually, in most of the cases, starts not, I would say, because there is a talent shortage. Is not, in most of the cases, talent supply issue. It starts exactly when we start the search, the recruitment. Why? Because this is exactly the time when the company realizes, oh, we do have a succession issue. We don't have the person, the right person to meet the job requirement. And when the company realizes this, exactly the moment that the person, an executive or a professional says, okay, I'm going to leave the company for another job opportunity. So in that way, it is not, I would say, so much an issue of talent. It's a matter of creating the right succession plan early enough for the companies to make sure that they have the talent the time they need it. Because otherwise, what they're doing, they look for the right talent that meets the right specification of the company, the compensation package now.
But why is that? Is that something that has to do with our own mentality, like we're not being very proactive? Is this something to do with our own, you know, fear of the unexpected? I mean, you know, the last 15 or so years, companies have been, you know, going through some really rough waters, and maybe that has created a certain, you know, fear factor within the executives' world, let's say, that, you know, I'm not really sure I want to invest in the next 10 or 15 years talent pipeline. I mean, why is this happening for you?
Okay. Why is this happening? Because simply the companies don't see it as a priority, as a strategic priority. They see it more operational. When it happens, we will see what we are going to do. But in this case, then it becomes a problem because you are looking for a talent now. Maybe the talent is available in the market, but not now. There is a pressure, and there are a lot of consequences in the business of the company, in the business strategy of the company. We see many times positions of CEOs or CFOs open for 6 months, 9 months. What this means? This means that during this time, the company may loses its, the way of doing business, may loses some of even some of its. Yes, exactly. And also, and for sure, is going to pay much more money in finding out the right talent because of time pressure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well said. Vangelis, you sort of identified this, but I just want to make it, take a deeper dive. Where is the talent gap most acute nowadays in Greece?
Especially in the younger generation, which is not my expertise, but it is something we discuss all the time. Back in my days, 20, 30 years ago and 20 kilos ago.
10 years ago.
No, 30 years ago, I have to admit that. So back in my days, you could run behind Big Four. You could beg to be hired by Big Four or a bank. That was something, critical for your career, for your success in the community. Right now, people from the younger generation are extremely picky. So the major organizations in Greece have major issues, for example, Big Four companies, to identify and attract young talent. The next generation thinks different, as Apple used to say. And we are wrong. They are the future. We're trying to make them think like we do. The first one who will adapt to their needs and enforce them with our experience will fly from the others.
Yeah, that's a very good point. Adigoni, I want to come back to you and ask you what you just said before. Do you see that being a recruitment problem or basically being a strategic risk that no one is really evaluating right now?
Yeah, exactly. There is always a test you can, we are doing. I mean, if there is a vacant position that stays open for 6 months and the company does not have any plan B to fill in, that means that there is not even an interim candidate. That, by default, means that in reality is not a recruitment project. Is, I would say, a governance gap that the company has. And this is very critical to see the importance of this case, because recruitment is something operational, as I said before. It's something that the HR is going to take care, preparing the employer's branding, prepares the compensation package, finds the right way to do the selection process. This is very much operational. The gap, the governance gap is much more critical because it affects the business continuity. It's not just filling a position.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah. And its long-term, let's say, effects are much deeper and much more, important, let's say, on the overall performance of a company.
Exactly.
But they don't see it nowadays on Wednesday, let's say. They have to see it in 5 years from now, and they often lack that perspective.
And this is a problem. I would say the Greek companies, they don't react in time, I would say.
Yeah.
So instead of asking the question, do I have the right succession plan for at least my critical positions of the company? They just reactively answer to the question, oh, I need a talent right now and I don't find it.
Find me one.
Yes. Or find me one now. Okay.
You're right.
And not pay him. Bring him cheap.
Yeah, bring him cheap, exactly. If we have to pay him, we can find one.
We only pay for C-level positions. C-level positions in the Greek market are really well paid and the way they should be paid.
Yeah.
Okay, we have the major issues are in the senior manager, director, senior director level.
Why do you say that? I mean, why do you say that this is where...
I've seen the numbers.
Yeah.
I
so
charge
what's
upon
the
it. So
discrepancy there? I mean, what's the challenge there?
The challenge is that, as I said before, as I said earlier, you have companies that, as you said, went through rough waters for 15 years.
Yeah.
Okay, so people that enter while they were 35, they are now in their 50s. In that crisis, they never had the opportunities to move up the ladder, to move up the salaries. The companies had to survive, not to share profits or bonuses.
Yeah.
So there was a lack of development the previous years, and right now everybody is stuck in certain levels. I don't want to name companies, but you can see it, for example, in banks. Okay, they had thousands of people. They had M&As. They had to survive through hell through capital controls, through changes in governance, in regulatory affairs, all the time.
Yeah.
They had no time to solve the riddle of the salaries. It's pretty easy to solve the riddle of the salary when you hunt for a CEO or for a GM. It's extremely easy. But for the mass market of your senior executives, it's extremely hard because it affects the whole structure. That's why you might see in companies the guy up the ladder earning less than the new guy below him. Mm-hmm. And this is a secret we have to discuss sometime.
And that's an excellent...
But this was something that happened also before, always.
A lot less.
Yeah, that's an excellent segue, which is a question for both of you on the whole, on the game between brain drain and brain regain. Four of the most usable words in the last 15 years in Greece, for many reasons that we all understand. The minister, shared some numbers in the morning and said that more or less, if I remember the numbers, like 2/3 of whoever left the country is coming back. But who is really coming back? I mean, what sort of jobs are they looking for? How competitive are we? Are they coming back because we're getting much better, or are they coming back because the countries that we're in are becoming much harder to be there? I just want your own perspective on the brain drain, brain regain,
Okay.
play.
Allow me. When we talk about brain drain, is of course we all think about the young generations. The problem, of course, we need to before looking what the government, the country is doing, or what are the conditions in the market, we have to think one step further, and also we in companies take the part of our responsibility to make sure that we create the environment for those people to stay in the Greek market. When, for example, a young person joins a company and does not see a clear career path, does not know what is going to take to succeed in his role, what are the available career paths, what's next, when all these things are not clear, then the sure thing is that at least, especially the most talented one, they will leave. Mm-hmm. At some point, they will leave the company and even the country sometimes. Okay, so before asking the question what the economy, the country can do, we have to take the companies, yes, to take our part first. Okay. This is, I do believe, a very critical thing. The other thing is, recently I wrote, I read a research that said that in 2024, 83 of the employees that left the companies left not because of not a good salary, but because of bad management. Within bad management is also career expectations, because it's part of a good management.
Exactly.
Okay?
Whereas we always focus on the salary side and
Exactly.
we forget the rest.
When we are at the other side and we try to recruit a person, the first thing we are thinking is the salary, which of course is critical, but not always the first. People today leave companies for the environment, for bad management.
Or the lack of it.
Or the lack of it.
Exactly.
Okay.
Vangelis, your view?
My view on the regain part.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Especially in the financial services, due to the problems in London in post-Brexit era, there are mid-level Greeks that want to return. The tax benefit is an extremely good asset in negotiating with them, and they're pretty positive because they are distressed over there. But there are mid-level people and extremely specialized in what they do due to the depth of the financial services market, for example, in UK. But there are people that want to come back, and that's a positive thing. On the other hand, when we hunt Greeks to bring them back, I had a project last year for a global rewards head for a big company in Greece, not operating in Greece, though. We identified more than 20 Greeks from San Francisco to Germany to UK with head of global rewards positions. We never even thought of reaching their salaries. I mean, I'll shock you, but 300K, 400K were part of the salary. So even with the tax benefits, we couldn't bring them back. So there are two stories in this area. A mid-level wave that is returning, and that's a good thing, because it's a long play, and a higher level that is still reluctant to returning and give part of the benefits that has outside.
Yeah, that's a good point, and well said. I just want to say one more question. We, as THI and with our partners, are working a lot on, upskilling, reskilling the young people, whether it's through Regeneration, Odyssey, or our partnership with SEV and the Skills for Jobs. We focus a lot on the young people, and we always use this upskilling, reskilling kind of approach. At the same time, on the previous panel, we had the previous panelists talking about, be adaptable. It doesn't matter, what you studied and your skills. I mean, just be there, learn more, be adaptable, be flexible. How much of this adaptability, flexibility, upskilling, and reskilling do we see at the very senior level of the companies? And I'm asking you because you're both top headhunters. How much of that, dialogue is happening over there on the upper echelons, let's say, of the corporate world?
You mean as a competence, the adaptability? How much?
I mean, I'll put it in a very descriptive way. Are we the guys eating the lamb chops, asking everyone to be a vegetarian? I mean, how much of that change are we doing for ourselves? The people who are the CEOs or whoever. How much of upskilling and reskilling, do they do internally for themselves, for the companies? How much they invest on that?
Okay.
Or is it a very static kind of seniority, but they just sit there and they hold the holy grail of wisdom?
Okay. I would say what a CEO or a C-level or a director level needs to do, for sure needs to do upskilling and reskilling, because things change so fast. And if you don't follow the change, if you don't adjust and adapt on a daily basis, I believe you're not going to succeed in the future.
And do you see that happening in Greece?
Not, I would say yes and no. I see, yes, it depends on the company, it depends on the sector sometimes. Some sectors are moving faster because you have to. But generally speaking, if you ask me about this, I think that the next, let's say, jobs for everybody, either it is a young person, a junior or a senior, needs to have specific competencies. The first is to be able to learn and unlearn. Because when you are young, you just learn. When you are more senior, you need to unlearn and learn. The other is to be adjustable and have resilience. For me, these are things that we always try to see to any level. It's competence that we need to see. And definitely at the higher
Top level. Thank you, Divoni. Evangeli, your view on this?
From my point of view, it's the same old story. Upskilling and reskilling was always there. It's something that happened during our lifetimes. When it comes to technology, we started with fax. Probably the new generation had no idea. When it comes to companies, if you see how many careers change from the beginning to the end, people that started as sales may have ended as marketing. I know engineers that ended as HR directors. So upskilling and reskilling is always
there. Or CEOs.
Or CEOs, whatever, yeah, but this is up the ladder. But it's happening. It's happening all these years. And this is the part of your personal evolution. It's part of the way you offer solution in the opportunities you see. And you offer career to yourself by the things you are getting paid to learn. That's the interesting things. So you are within a company, you're probably a head of accounting, and suddenly there is an issue in budgeting and reporting. and they only trust you, and they have no time to hire someone from outside. And they come to you and they say, come on, man, take this. You have to take this.
Yeah.
Believe me, it will pay you ahead.
Yeah.
Because it will enforce your identity. You're a sales guy, you're a key account manager, and suddenly they tell you, let's go to trade marketing. Okay, I'm not sure. Yeah, go to take that position, take the opportunity, solve the damn problem. Don't wait for the solution, for the opportunity to come to you. Grab when the times are hard and move. Upskilling and reskilling happens all the time. And it's partly from the company side, partly from the executive side,
Yeah,
yes.
Exactly. Okay, final question.
I
and
reskilled
that's-
already, I'm in my second marriage.
Final question. I'm not sure if you have children or not. Let's say you have a son or a daughter who's about 25 years old. You know, they're about to graduate from the college. You know, they're looking to see and they're looking to start their careers. In 2 or 3 sentences, what's the piece of advice you give to your kids?
For me is if you want to go to and try to find a job in the market, you need to be authentic.
Mm-hmm.
Does not try to show, to explain what you know, because it doesn't matter. Of course, you need to know things, and this is why people have their certificates or everything. But you need to show very much that you have the passion to learn, and you are adaptable, as I said, and also that show that you want to go through this process. You want to develop yourself. Show that you, I mean, usually people that hire juniors, they always say, okay, this has so much passion, so much power to succeed. And this is what companies buy.
Thank you. Vangeli, 2, 3 sentences.
Yeah, I would say try, fail,
Good luck.
party. No, it's not about
In
luck.
that order or the
I
reverse
don't
order?
believe in luck, my friend. I believe in effort. So try, have some internships, probably to Coca-Cola, to Microsoft, to Mr. Sarakakis, to Mr. Koumetis, wherever, try some internships. Okay, go and fail, learn, and don't be too attached to your studies. Because
Yeah.
you might be an engineer, you might end an HR.
Thank you. Let's give it a round of applause. Thank you, Vangeli. Thank you, Adigoni. Thank you so much.